The Bosphorus Bridge, also known as the first bridge because it was the first bridge built over the Bosphorus, is a suspension bridge connecting Asia and Europe by road between Ortaköy and Beylerbeyi. The idea of connecting the continents of Asia and Europe with a bridge and easily crossing from one side to the other has been a constant topic of discussion throughout history. Indeed, the story of the construction of the first bridge across the Bosphorus is somewhat legendary. According to Herodotus, considered the father of history, the famous Persian ruler Darius I, during his campaign against the Scythians in the first quarter of the 6th century BC, crossed the Bosphorus to Thrace with his army, using a floating bridge built by Mandrocles of Samos by lining up and connecting wide rafts and ships side by side. It is known that similar bridges were built at various times, including during the early Ottoman period, and used for transporting soldiers to the opposite shore. It is known that the idea of building a real and permanent bridge over the Golden Horn and the Bosphorus has been raised from time to time since the conquest of Istanbul. Indeed, it is said that the Italian Renaissance artist Michelangelo wanted to build a bridge over the Golden Horn, and that Leonardo da Vinci sent a letter to Bazatou around 1502 suggesting the construction of a bridge over the Golden Horn or the Bosphorus. After a long hiatus, the idea of connecting both sides of the Bosphorus with a bridge or a tunnel only came to the forefront towards the end of the 19th century. In this context, in 1891, a project for the construction of a tunnel between Cerebrnu and Üsküdar Salakak was designed by the French railway engineer S. Pro. This project, called the Underwater Steel Tunnel, aimed for rail transportation via a tunnel under the sea, requiring very powerful construction technology and high costs. This project remained at the drawing stage. Subsequently, the International Bosphorus the railway company proposed building a ring road around Istanbul and connecting Asia and Europe with two bridges. This proposal was designed by the French engineer and industrialist Ferdinand Arnaudin and presented to Sultan Abdul Hamid II in March 1900. The main goal of the project was to establish a railway system connecting the two continents. For this purpose, it proposed the construction of two bridges across the Bosphorus, one between Cerebrnu and Üsküdar, and the other between Rumeli Hisar and Kandeli. According to the plan, the railway system ending in Haydarpaşa would be extended to Üsküdar, and from there, a bridge would be constructed to connect the European side to the railway system. The project also stipulated that Bostank, located on the Haydarpaşa railway line, and Bakırköy, located on the Istanbul line, both of which had become important suburbs, would be integrated by another bridge to be built between Rumeli Hisar and Kandili. Thus, uninterrupted transportation would be provided between the important centers of the city, the Istanbul Peninsula, Galata, Üsküdar, and the Bosphorus villages. Another noteworthy aspect was Arnaudin's accurate foresight of Istanbul's future development and the significant plans he prepared for it. Despite this, Arnaudin's project was not accepted by the palace. In the same year, after extensive preparation, the Bosphorus Railway Company proposed building a bridge between Rumeli Hisar and Anadolu Hisarık. The bridge, intended to carry trains, cars, and pedestrians, was named Hamadi, in keeping with the prevailing circumstances of the time. This project, planned as a magnificent bridge, was not approved by the Sultan. Also, during the reign of Abdul Hamid II, three American engineers, Frederick E. Strom, Frank T. Lindman, and John A. Hill, approached the palace with a project for a subway tunnel between Asia and Europe, which they called Tuneli Barisi Tunnel, a project that was quite utopian for the time. Their plan proposed a tunnel between Cerebrnu and Salakak. However, this proposal was also rejected as a pipe dream. In the period that followed, the Ottoman Empire entered a period of internal turmoil and war, and the idea of building a bridge or tunnel across the Bosphorus fell off the agenda. In the Republican era, the first studies regarding the construction of a bridge across the Bosphorus were carried out in the 1930s by Nuri Demirok, a major entrepreneur of the time. Demirok wanted to build a suspension bridge similar to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, with engineers and experts he brought from America. The planned bridge would be located between Ayharkap and Salakak. The bridge would be 25.60 meters long, 20.73 meters wide, and 53.34 meters high above sea level. The bridge was to have separate lanes for trains, trams, cars, and pedestrians. According to the project, trains would branch off at Kumkapi via a switch and connect to Haydarpaşa via Doğansalar, thus integrating the European and Asian train systems. The bridge was projected to be completed in 3.5 years and cost 11 million lira. Although the project was approved by Ataturk and submitted to the government, it faced opposition from the then Minister of Public Works, Ali Keaton, and Prime Minister İsmet İnönü, despite patiently struggling until the 1950s to realize his project for a bridge across the Bosphorus. Demirok was unsuccessful. This failure was largely due to factors such as Istanbul's small population, the perceived lack of need for such a large-scale, financially demanding bridge for the city's traffic, and disagreements with Demirok. From the late 19th century onwards, the idea of building a bridge across the Bosphorus Strait was constantly discussed, but never materialized. However, the concept of connecting Asia and Europe via a bridge never lost its importance, especially in the years after 1950, when Istanbul rapidly developed and its population began to increase. The construction of a bridge or tunnel across the Bosphorus became a more frequent topic of discussion. For example, in 1950, engineer Metin Pusat prepared a project for a tunnel crossing the Bosphorus and announced it at a press conference. However, his project did not receive sufficient public support. In 1951, the German Krupp Company commissioned architect Paul Bonitz, who was teaching at Istanbul Technical University, to conduct a bridge study. According to the study, the most suitable location for the bridge was between Ortaköy and Beylerbeyi, where the current bridge stands. Krupp prepared a project based on this study. However, their efforts also proved fruitless. In 1953, a committee composed of representatives from the Ministry of Transportation, Istanbul Municipality, General Directorate of Highways, Directorate of Railway and Port Construction, Directorate of Building and Urban Planning, and Istanbul Technical University conducted studies regarding the construction of a bridge or crossing over the Bosphorus. Given the numerous serious aspects of the project, the committee decided that the work should be undertaken by a qualified firm. Consequently, the General Directorate of Highways awarded the contract to the American firm DeLu Catherine Company on July 8, 1955, and the company published its report in May 1956. According to this report, the area between Ortaköy and Beylerbeyi was the most ideal location for the suspension bridge. On September 13, 1957, a law passed by the Turkish Grand National Assembly granted the General Directorate of Highways the authority to select a consulting firm for the construction of a bridge over the Bosphorus, and the project was put out to tender. On October 24, 1957, a contract was signed with the American company D.B. Steinman Consulting Engineers, which won the tender. The firm submitted its project and technical specifications to the authorities in early 1964, the tender process. Around the same time, the German firm Dickerhoff und Widmann proposed a different project, a bridge between Kuzguncuk and Yildiz using a tension band concrete system. However, their proposal was rejected on the grounds that a suspension bridge would enhance the beauty of the Bosphorus, and it was decided that the bridge would be built according to the project, prepared by D.B. Steinman. The state issued a tender, requesting bids by May 16, 1960. Just as the construction of a bridge across the Bosphorus was about to fulfill a centuries-old dream, the process was disrupted by the May 27, 1960 coup, and the tender was cancelled. However, Istanbul's continuous population growth due to migration, its rapid urbanization, and the inadequacy of car ferries for vehicle crossings between the two shores brought the issue of building a bridge across the Bosphorus back to the agenda. Since previous projects were prepared using outdated technologies and the conditions of the time, a new tender process was initiated. On August 31, 1967, competent firms were asked to prepare projects for consultancy services related to the construction of a suspension bridge and ring road across the Bosphorus. A contract was signed on February 8, 1968, with the British firm Freeman, Fox and Partners, which submitted the best offer. The tender for the construction of the bridge was won by a consortium of German Hochtief AG and British Cleveland Bridge and Engineering Company. The long-planned and planned project to connect the two continents with a bridge was finally nearing completion. The Bosphorus Bridge, whose foundation was laid in Beylerbeyi on February 20, 1970, was opened to service by President Fahri Korutürk on October 29, 1973, the 50th anniversary of the proclamation of the Republic. While the Bosphorus Bridge and its surrounding roads provided the first historical link between the continents of Asia and Europe, their construction also faced significant criticism. Many institutions, individuals, and politicians, primarily the Chamber of Architects, considered the construction of a bridge across the Bosphorus problematic. The basis of these criticisms was that a bridge across the Bosphorus would seriously disrupt the natural and historical silhouette of both Istanbul and the Bosphorus itself. The Bosphorus Bridge, located between Ortaköy and Beylerbeyi, has 3 lanes for vehicles in each direction and 2 lanes for pedestrians in each direction. The total length of the bridge is 1,560 meters. The length between the two piers is 1,073 meters, and its height above sea level is 64 meters. Opened to pedestrians on May 2, 1974, for a fee of 1 lira. The bridge was closed to pedestrians in 1978 due to frequent suicide cases. The Bosphorus Bridge, where vehicle crossings are tolled, has made a significant contribution to the state economy since its opening. In addition to its economic contributions, it also serves the public through social activities. The Bosphorus Bridge Crossing Public Race, which began on April 1, 1979, as an Asia-Europe race, continues today as the internationally participated Intercontinental Istanbul Eurasia Marathon. The bridge, illuminated on April 22, 2007, also offers a visual spectacle to Istanbul residents and tourists. Following the July 15, 2016 coup attempt, the bridge was renamed the 15th of July Martyrs Bridge in memory of those who were martyred there.